welcome to PLZ Soccer. I'm joined by former Celtic and Borussia Dortmund midfielder Paul Lambert, a man who can boast a Champions League winners' medal among his collection. There's not many can say that. So, first of all, Paul, what are your immediate reflections on the draw?
It's a bit crazy, I think, Alison, because the two clubs I played with are really close. So it's a great occasion. It's a great game. It's in Dortmund, which is great. It's new for Celtic and new for the fans to go over and see it, because everybody talks about the stadium and the way the yellow wall is and things like that. And it's a great. I was there on Saturday. I was there last Saturday watching them, and they were very good. And the atmosphere was incredible for the first game. So they played a really good game, Dortmund, and they've got a new team, new coach, but they've started the season really well. But Celtic will enjoy going over there.
Last season's Champions League finalists, last season's Europa League finalists, and two Conference League semi-finalists. What is a plausible return for Celtic from this campaign?
Well, I think the new format is. I mean, I watched some of it yesterday. I mean, it's like an entertainment show, you know. Just make the draw and get the teams out and let them play. All this nonsense that you see yesterday is people think it's great television, but I thought it was actually pretty boring, that draw. But it's a new format, and I think the new format gives clubs like Celtic a better chance probably to win one or two games, because you can't keep playing. When you're a club the size of Celtic, you can't keep playing European competitions, Alison, and ending up with 1 and 0 points. That doesn't add up. 'Cause the club's too big for that. It does great domestically, as you said, but it needs to make a little dent in Europe. And hopefully this new format does that. 'Cause it gives clubs who are not in the elite bracket, it gives them a little chance to maybe have a little crack at the the knockout rounds, you know.
And is it viable for Celtic then to go on and reach the group stages?
Well, when you look at it, you've got 8 games. I mean, you've not got the 6 anymore. You've got 8. You've got another 2 more, and you've got obviously they've got Leipzig at home will be tough. They're a good side. They shouldn't don't underestimate it. If you look at young boys as well, who put out Galatasaray, there's not an easy game in Europe. Celtic are going to have to earn it. Going away to Dortmund is going to be tough. Going away to Aston Villa is going to be tough. The home games, you like to think they've got a real good shout at that, but I don't. They're going to have to earn it. It's not going to be easy. It's a tough section they're in.
You know all about playing in a Battle of Britain. Will Celtic fans relish the opportunity to go up against Aston Villa?
Oh, they'll go down there in their thousands, as you know. They'll probably take over Birmingham. That's the way it is. That's the life. And I don't care how big a club there's anything in England. There's nothing like Celtic. That goes without saying. If Celtic were in that English Premiership, I always say it, if they were in that English Premiership, they would dwarf most clubs. Give them the same finances, give them the same start. You need to build another tier in Celtic Park. That's a bigger fan base, but they'll go down there in their thousands. And it won't be easy for Aston Villa, even though they're playing really well and they've got a good manager and the team have done great. Really good club. Don't get me wrong, it's a really good club, but Celtic have got every chance of going down to Villa and getting something if they perform.
Will Villa be surprised by Celtic, do you think?
Well, 100%. Listen, there's an ignorance from down south to what it is up here. There's 100% that. You can ask anybody that's played for the club, Celtic. I bet if you even ask Casper Schmeichel and Joe Hart what they thought about Celtic, I bet they'd give you a different perception of what they did before they actually came. And that's the case of it. It's that magnitude of a club. You take it out of Scotland, you put it in that English Premiership for a few years to find their feet, it would be mammoth. And that's the way the club is. And you have to have big shoulders to play for it because of the pressure that's on it. And it's a tough place to play, Celtic, if you don't perform. But going down to Villa, there's nothing to fear. Celtic's a massive, massive club, without a doubt.
Is there a different build-up and atmosphere around these games when you're playing a side south of the border?
Yeah, 100%. You've got that to it. You want to put one over them, without a doubt. You've got to win a game anyway for Champions League stuff. You've got to win the game. But there's also that cross-border thing as well, that you want to go there and put a marker down with it, you know. And it doesn't matter if John McGinn's playing for Aston Villa or not. He's Scottish or he's a Celtic fan. It don't matter. It doesn't matter to any Celtic fan. It won't matter to any Celtic player. you go and put a marker on it, and you go and do your best to win the game. But that's the case with Celtic when you play for the club. You have to realise that the club has to win. In Europe, everybody's looking for them to make a mark. So hopefully this is a year that they do make a mark.
You played against Blackburn Rovers, and there was the infamous men against boys remark made after the first leg by Graham Souness. Was that an added incentive to you guys as a squad?
Yeah, of course. You know, I mean, I think that you look at the Celtic team that we had that era. I mean, you've seen it. That was they were a team of men, really, strong guys, mentally strong, character-wise was strong, and they were a right good side, a right top side, and that team would have went anywhere toe to toe with a lot of them, as you well know. And the crazy thing is, we get criticised for getting beat with Porto, and Porto get win the Champions League the following year. So when you look at that, how high a level we played at that time, knocking out Blackburn and Liverpool, we were strong, could hold their own with anybody, I think, at any time. So it's a different era, but this team, the Celtic current team at the minute, is a good side. Hopefully they can handle the occasion of the games, because they're going to be massive games for them. But when somebody says things like that, yeah, on the back of your mind, you want to prove them wrong, that what they're talking really is nonsense, really.
The team of that era, of course, had such a formidable return from games at Celtic Park. It's been on the wane across the last decade or so. Just how important is it for Celtic that they try and recapture that fortress element at Celtic Park?
I think your home games are key. I think they give you the catalyst to get a chance of it. I think you have to. I mean, you're right. I think we were undefeated in Europe, more or less. I think I can't remember a European team beating us at Parkhead in that time. So I think when you look at this year or the current team, I think they're going to have to start to win the games at Parkhead. It gives them a chance. It makes things a little bit easier going away from home. There's no too much pressure when you don't get the result at home. So I think it's important they do get the results at home. That will set them up, and if they can get the results at home, which hopefully they will, that sets them up for the tougher away games.
You're up now in Glasgow for the game at Celtic Park on Sunday, the first derby of the season as Brendan Rodgers' side go up against Rangers. What are you expecting from that one?
Well, looking from afar, I just think Celtic are so much stronger and play more technically better football than what Rangers do. I think Rangers are getting results through just being better than other teams at the minute. But I think they'll be coming up against a different Celtic team on Sunday. You can never predict the way the Old Firm's going to go, or the Celtic Rangers game's going to go. You can never predict it. It doesn't matter who's playing well and who's not. But on paper, and you look at it being at Celtic Park, you think there's only going to be one winner. The biggest thing is that there's no away fans. I think it's not good for the game. It makes Scottish football even worse from the outside looking in. It needs the two sets of fans to come back into the stadiums in a full capacity of it. So I think that takes a bit of away of it. So I think Rangers will defend and try and hit them on the counter. I think that's the way Rangers will play. I don't think they've got the players that can actually open Celtic up. But if Celtic do what they do in the last few games, then I can't see anything other than a Celtic win.
Psychologically, what is the pressure on Rangers, just given how dominant Celtic have been in this fixture, and particularly how dominant Brendan Rodgers is across his two spells as Celtic manager when it comes to games against Rangers?
Well, I think the longer it goes on, there's more pressure on the manager. If he can't get a turn against Celtic, then that's what he'll be probably judged on, is where he can get results against Celtic. And the longer that goes on for him, it's the more pressure that he'll receive. And that's the same if it was the other way around. If it happened to Brendan, it'll be the exact same. But when you play your biggest rivals, you've got to beat them sometime to relieve a wee bit of pressure from yourself and the team. So the longer this run goes on, and it's not just at Celtic Park, it's at Ibrox as well. They can't beat them at Ibrox. So the longer this goes on, the more I think agitated the Rangers board and the Rangers fans will become. Playing at Hampden doesn't help them one bit. I think that's been a mess. So I think when you look at the whole scenario, the longer this goes on, the more pressure it heaps on Rangers. And Celtic need a strong Rangers as well, Alison. They need a strong Rangers, but at the moment, over a season, I don't think they've got it. Just at this moment, it might be later on. Maybe it does come. I don't know. But in this moment, I'm not so sure it's strong enough to compete with Celtic.
You've come all the way up for it. It's a game you clearly still enjoy.
It's great. It's great. I mean, as I always say, you could play this fixture on the moon, and people would travel to go and see it because it's that crazy a game. So it's just a pity there's no fans. I think that's when it becomes its best. But it is what it is, and hopefully whoever it is gets their head together and say, okay, we need to change this format.
Thanks as always for joining us on PLZ Soccer. Don't forget you can download our app and get access to all the breaking and exclusive news on PLZ Soccer.